Hi everybody! So today we're going to be working with casting silicone from Counterculture DIY. I'm going to be showing you how you can make your own silicone molds. I use mine for wax melts. You can use them for epoxy. So we're going to go over some of the supplies that you will need for this little project. So first off, you're going to need the casting silicone from Counterculture. You're going to want a hot glue gun. You want some sort of container for your silicone. You don't want to use another piece of silicone for this. You want to use like a plastic container, wooden container. I always use plastic containers, and these are ones that I took from my kitchen that I knew I was never going to use again for my kitchen. So this is what we're going to use. I color my molds with dispersion color. I'm going to go with Scarlet Shazam. Here's another example of another mold. You will want an X-Acto knife. If you are using your molds for resin, you will want a deburring tool. It's similar to an X-Acto knife. I don't have one. My molds don't always come out super smooth when I cut them with my X-Acto knife, but because I'm working with wax and not resin, I can easily just clean up the edges with my X-Acto knife. So again, if you want to use this for resin, get a deburring tool. It's going to give you a lot cleaner edges for your final product. So the first thing you want to do is I am making molds of more cookies for more wax melts. So what I want to do is hot glue my cookie right to the container. I try and place it right in the middle. We're going to do the same thing with this other container. This one's going to fit 2 of them. I just try and place them kind of in the middle. That way you have even spacing on both sides of the mold. And then I want that nice little gap there too. That's going to give me proper spacing for the molds. So now we're going to put these to the side and we are going to measure and mix up our silicone. So now you're going to want to measure equal parts casting silicone and equal part, well, of part A and part B. I'm going to start with part B first. And I like to measure this at eye level. I'm going to mix up 4 ounces total. I might not need that much, but at least I'd rather have too much than not enough. We have 2 ounces of part B. And now we're going to go in with 2 ounces of part A. And that's going to give us 4 ounces total. And I am going to add some of my Scarlet Shazam dispersion color. I just kind of dip my toothpick in. And now I start mixing. And you want to mix this very well. So the work time with casting silicone is 18 to 22 minutes. And then you can demold after about 4 to 5 hours at room temperature. It kind of depends on the temperature of your room. And then the total dry time is 48 hours. So what I do is I'm ready to pour this now. It's all thoroughly mixed up. Really made sure it was all nice and mixed. Bubbles will all rise to the surface. You won't have to worry about trying to pop those at all. So we have both of our containers. And now we're ready to pour. I'm going to start with the single one first. And now it can go in on the double one. And if for some reason you don't have enough, you would just mix up some more. This was actually the perfect amount for both. We want it to fully cover. And now you're gonna move this to a level surface. I know that this little area of my craft room is not quite as level as the other side. So we're gonna go ahead and move this over to a level spot, and we're gonna let this cure. It's a very simple process. I find that with my workroom temperatures, because my room is a little bit cooler, that I have to wait a little bit longer to demold. That's completely fine. You can see these bubbles are rising to the surface and popping, so you don't have to worry about anything with that. Now you're just gonna let these cure. I typically wait about 8 hours to demold mine, and then I do wait the full 48 hours to clean them up. So we will come back once these are ready to be taken out. Alrighty everybody, we are back. These have sat. It is the next day. So it is time to unmold them. Now if you had made like a plastic container, something that you can take apart, that's kind of easier. You can go ahead and do it that way. What I like to do is just take a little popsicle stir stick and I kind of press on the sides to kind of release them from the container. You can kind of see the sides start to release. So you just got to be patient and slowly get it out. Once you get a nice corner lifted, you can kind of get your hand in there and finish popping it out. And so this is a cookie in there, so we can take that out and then clean this up. So as I'm trying to get the Oreo out, I'm going to lightly just take my X-Acto knife and kind of cut right around where the Oreo is going to fully come out, but not quite all the way because I want to clean that all up later. And you're going to wash these out fully before you use them to pour anything. So it's okay that they look dirty right now. They're going to get cleaned up. Be very careful with your X-Acto knife. And now you can take this out just as if you were demolding something. So we're gonna clean this all out and then we're going to clean up the edges of this. So now that we have the cookies taken out of the molds, I just rinsed them with warm water. And so there are the layers of the cookie still in there, and I personally do not like having that in there. I want just a nice smooth cookie pour. So what I'm going to do is just carefully take my X-Acto knife and I kind of pull this out a little bit. And I just slice that piece off. It actually will even just kind of rip off nicely. And just clean up the mold. That way it is ready to use then. Just be careful, your hands can easily slip. This is where the deburring tool would actually come a little bit more in handy. But again, I just don't have one. I go through just carefully with my X-Acto knife and it works pretty well. But if you're working with resin and you want a nice smooth clean line, definitely get a deburring tool. It's going to be a lot more beneficial for your molds. Because I'm using wax melts, I can always just shave them down a little bit when they're done curing. But this is actually coming out pretty smooth. And I think it's because I let the mold sit longer before I pulled out the cookies and before I started cleaning them out. So that's actually pretty smooth in there now. And now what I'm going to do is just clean up this outside. I'm just going to just carefully go around the edge right there and give it a little slice, and then just kind of go around the edge. I kind of go whichever way it wants to start going, and I just follow it around. And there you have it. Pretty easy, simple mold. Again, if you're doing resin in your molds, you will want to use a deburring tool to get a smoother finish. And so I'll go in here and just keep cleaning it up, and then I will go through it and do it with the other one as well. So this, I will let it sit until tomorrow, because then that'll be the full 48-hour dry time, and then I will be ready to pour. And that is how I was able to make these cookie wax melts. What I do recommend if you are using a food product to start your mold is just do a discard pour, which is where I just do one small pour right on the bottom there where everything was originally stuck, because you can see little bits in there yet. And then I will just discard that little piece of wax that I pour. And that is it. If you go ahead and make any of these, make sure you share them in the group, tag us in the group. And if you need to purchase any of the supplies we used here, you can use code Kaelee for a discount. And thanks for joining. Bye.